Welcome to Board Games and Chill. I'm Nathan.
I'm Gabriella.
And I'm Jerome.
And today we're going to be doing our top 10 favorite IP games.
Intellectual properties are intangible creations of human intellect, usually designated by copyrights or trademarks or licenses. In this case, they're artistic creations that are licensed to board game companies to use.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to do my number 10. My number 10 is Marvel United. Marvel United is an action-packed hero game that is based off of the Marvel IP. You play as a hero, and you have your team members of up to 4 players, and you fight either one villain, and depending on the scenario and the villain, you can fight multiple villains, like in Sinister Six. It's a really fun game. What's awesome about it is that it's a gamer's game, but it's also for family members, and it's easy to teach, easy to learn, but it can be very challenging. Gabby?
Cool. So my number 10 is Thanos Rising. So in that game, you play as a bunch of Marvel heroes, Marvel heroes of your choosing, and you team up to defeat Thanos, so that way he does not get all the Infinity Stones. So yeah, it's a really fun game, really good cooperative game to play, and we love Marvel.
Yes, and we use Marvel Crisis Minis pretty much for every single Marvel game that we can.
Literally, and we have to make his thousands of hours of paint jobs on them worth it. So.
All right, Jerome?
I'm noticing a theme here. My number 10 is Legendary Marvel.
Another Marvel game.
That's because we're heroes.
Yeah. Legendary Marvel is a deck building game. It's an older one. It's the first deck building game I played, and it's one of the games that got me into modern board games. I like that you're playing a shield agent and you're recruiting new heroes to be on your team to fight the villains and try and stop the schemes. It's a fun game. It can be a little long. It's supposed to be 1 to 5 players. I would never play it at 4, and definitely not at 5. That's just a bad idea. I mean, it would be way too long. I think the sweet spot is 2 and 3 players.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and that was one of our first games as well. And that's how I got Gabby into board gaming. So, and we actually brought it to our honeymoon. So.
Yep.
All right.
And now here we are, 5.5 years later, filming YouTube videos with you guys.
And still liking Marvel. So.
Yes.
All right. So my number 9 is Journeys in Middle Earth. That is Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth. It's based off of the Lord of the Rings books. It's a pretty good adaptation. We play as just heroes in a non-named story that's never been written that we create ourselves. It's an app-based game, and we really enjoyed it. We played through the campaign and had a really good time with it.
Hashtag quarantine games.
Quarantine games. All right, my love.
Well, that was actually my number 9 too, so we're tied on that one.
Perfect.
So, ditto whatever he said.
High five. Awkward high five.
My number 9 is Vampire the Masquerade Rivals. It's based on the World of Darkness IP Vampire the Masquerade. It is a 2 to 4 competitive card game, and it's Renegade Studios' version of a living card game. They're going to be releasing expansions later this year, and they're going to be having organized play. You build a cadre of vampires and try to beat the other players, getting your agenda and becoming the prince of the city. It's a fun game. I've played it a couple times so far, and I can't wait to see what the expansions bring.
Yeah, like it kind of reminds me of Warriors, where rival gangs are just fighting each other and they're slightly different.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 8 is Star Wars Outer Rim. You play as scumbags and bounty hunters, and you go through the game and picking up jobs and objectives and... Wow. And you can upgrade your ship. It's a really fun game, but that one suffers from scaling issues. I definitely think it's best at 1 to 2 players. 3 is fine, 4 absolutely not. But yeah,
I think it needs an expansion too.
I need a Mandalorian expansion.
Yeah, to help balance it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, my love, go ahead. Your number 8.
My numero 8 is Australia. So that game is about Cthulhu sleeping in Australia and
just taking a quick nap.
Just taking a quick nap,
Like you
so
do.
that one is like the sequel to A Study in Emerald. I always want to say A City in Emerald. I don't know why. study an emerald, and basically, you know, you go there and the land is all blighted, so you want to try and like revamp the land in Australia, but eventually, dun dun dun, you wake up the old one. So then the old one comes into play. So with that game, it does play up to 4, but I honestly think because Cthulhu is almost like another player, I would definitely keep it at 2 to 3 players maximum.
I agree.
Like, yeah, and then cooperative, obviously. Well, I mean,
we
not
play
obviously, but
cooperatively.
that's how we play, and that's how we enjoy it. So, yeah.
All right, Jerome.
My number 8 is Cowboy Bebop Space Serenade. It is another deck building game. I have a theme going there too.
Yeah.
It's based on the Japanese anime of the same name, Cowboy Bebop. It's 1 to 4 players, and you all play the characters that inhabit the Bebop spaceship, and you fly around as bounty hunters trying to build your deck so you can either kill or capture the bounties and then try and get the big bad boss. I really enjoy the theme on this. It has a little bit of take that, which, yeah, I could take or leave, but that's kind of thematic for the game because they don't always work together. I love the theme on this, and it's a fun game to me.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 7 is Mansions of Madness. It's based off the Lovecraftian horror. And basically in Mansions, you play, I really enjoy it. It's you play as investigators exploring a mystery. It's an app-based game as well. So in the beginning, they explain like this murder or whatever happens, and you play as investigators, figure out, you know, what's causing it. It's always, you know, Cthulhu or something. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. All right, my love.
By the way, did anybody catch Lovecraft Country on HBO? Let us know in the comments. Loved that show.
Yeah.
So much. Okay, anyways, back to topic. My number 7 is Terrence of the Underdark. So Terrence of the Underdark is a D&D game, Dungeons and Dragons. We've actually tried a couple of campaigns a few times, but they have been unsuccessful. But yeah, Terrence of the Underdark is a really fun game. The board scales really well.
Agreed.
And I mean, visually, I think they could have done a lot better considering it's D&D, but they kind of slacked off. But the gameplay still is a really good game. And it plays great at all player counts, in my opinion.
Yeah, the board is the most lackluster. The card art is really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Jeremy, number 7.
It's going to be Magna Arcana. Magna Arcana is a tactical skirmish dungeon crawl. It's a co-op game. It's a Lovecraftian horror game. I like this game a lot. We played we played 10 hours in a single day and went through this single campaign, and it was immersive. It's got this steampunk feel to it, and I really enjoyed everything about that game, from the traps and stuff that you can trigger to fight against the monsters, to finding new stuff and building up your skills and attributes. I really enjoyed how that story played out in that game.
Yeah, it's really engaging.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 6 is Arkham Horror Lcg. So this one actually I played solo in the beginning. Gabby wasn't as crazy about it, but basically now Jerome and I play it a lot. So you play as an investigator, it's almost like Mansions of Madness, but this gameplay is a lot faster, and I enjoyed the resources to pay for cards in this one. It's a deck construction, so we actually build our decks before we play the game. And it's amazing that just a card game can evolve into like this dungeon crawl story epicness, and each time we beat one of those cycles we actually get a cookie cake, and that makes it worth it. So
It's super cute.
My favorite part.
right. Okay, my love, your number 6.
My number 6 is Star Wars.
Star Wars what?
I need my Princess Leia buns. Star Wars Imperial Assault. That game is a really fun game. They have campaign modes, and you can play skirmish, you can play cooperative, you can play one versus all. So it's really good for different mechanics of games you want to play with one game. They have a crap ton of expansions.
We own it all.
And we do own it all. So, you know, it never gets boring, and it's really cool because it's kind of like the side stories, kind of like how Mandalorian was. It's like side stories of Star Wars, of the unsung heroes, you know, so it's really cool to play with, not your typical Luke and Leia and Han and all them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
do you
enjoy it
remember
'cause-
when I put the AT-AT inside the freaking building?
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's almost like you can make it like a Rogue One story or a Mandalorian story. It's really epic. And the characters in it are awesome. So.
Agreed.
Okay, Jerome, you're number 6.
My number 6 is Journeys in Middle-earth.
Awesome.
He talked about that, so I'm not going to go too much into it. The only thing I would say is I kind of wished it was like Imperial Assault, where you weren't playing named characters. In Journeys in Middle-earth, you get to play Gimli or Legolas or Bilbo, and I think it would be better if it was unnamed characters. I really enjoy it. It's a fun game.
Perfect. Okay, my number 5 is actually Star Wars Imperial Assault. Gabby pretty much covered everything on it, and like Drum said, you play as unknown named heroes in this one, and it's just fantastic and lots of fun. All right, my left, go ahead, number 5.
My number 5 is Dune Imperium. Let me start off by saying I really do not care for the IP whatsoever. After we played the game, we watched the movie with my dad over the holidays, and yeah, no, definitely not it for me. But the game is totally it for me. I love Dune. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a worker placement, deck builder.
Yeah, we played it like
Just
a lot
pissed
when we
off
first got
millions
it.
of nerds too.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry, guys.
That's fine. All right, Jerome, you're number 5.
My number 5 is going to be Bloodborne, the board game. It is based on the PlayStation IP of the same name, Bloodborne. It is a 1-4 co-op campaign game. He got it through Kickstarter, got everything for it. It comes with 4 missions in the core box, and each mission has 3 chapters. Each chapter lasts about 2 hours. You flip over tiles as you move through the board, and you fight monsters and achieve you get missions and try and achieve goals. You save characters, you fight baddies. It just, all around, it's a fun game.
Absolutely. All right, so my number 4 is Terrence of the Underdark. That game was my number 1 game for such a long time. It's lots of fun. It's an area control deck builder, as Gabby said. And that's pretty much it, since Gabby covered most of it. All right.
My number 4 is The Godfather. Okay, that was
Each time you
terrible.
do that, you get better and better.
Not really. I try. So Godfather is a really fun game. They took off the IP from the movie. It's really fun too because as you're playing, mafia is rivaling in New York and stuff like that.
Different families
and stuff like that. You can, when you kill each other, you dump the bodies in the Hudson River. I mean, it can't get more thematic than that. But it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. Lots of laughs, but also lots of anger because the game is kind of aggressive. Yeah. So if your group isn't really into that, I would probably not recommend it. But if you don't mind a little take that, then, good to go.
Yeah, and what's good about Godfather is it's a worker placement game, but there's a lot of player interaction. And what's great about that game, most of all, is how easy it is to take out and play again. It's not one of those we have to reread the rule book or anything like that. All the actions are on top left of the board. So I really enjoyed that. Jerome?
My next one is Mansions of Madness, which you went over. App assisted, which I really enjoy from Fantasy Flight games. They really just do that genre well. I love that Cthulhu theme. Fun game.
Yep, and the app really makes it immersive, engaging. The music, the little scratching noises of the monster is really good. Okay, so my number 3 is Bloodborne, the board game. Like Jerome said, I own everything for that game. Some of it, the core set's mostly painted. And honestly, that game, most of the time it's like, I went all in and it's a waste. But this one, I'm absolutely glad I went all in, got everything for it. And I really enjoy that IP. I play the PlayStation game a bunch. And and it's fun to play over Zoom. I played with my friend Chris Peak, so shout out. Go ahead, my love.
My number 3 was Mansions of Madness. So, we've already mentioned all the good stuff to say about it. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Perfect.
My number 3 is This War of Mine. It's a 1 to 6 player game, but I would never play past 2 players. I mean, truly, it's basically a solo game. That's how I mostly play it. We have played 2 player and enjoyed it too. It's based on the app game, and it's a post-apocalyptic survival game. You have to build up your shelter, and then you have to send survivors out to get supplies so that you can keep your survivors alive. It is also a story-based game, so if you trigger certain things that happen, you read out of the survivor storybook, and sometimes it can get pretty depressing. I just really enjoy playing that game.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And Jerome and I are an odd breed where, we don't quarterback or anything like that. We play cooperative games really well. So for us to play, we even play the game as like a solo, but we play it together. So this Word of Mine is a really fun game. I definitely glad that he owns it so I can play it. So, all right. So my number 2 is Marvel Crisis. So Marvel Crisis is a miniature skirmish game. It's fantastic. And there's so many different affiliations and somehow for that company to make me excited about characters I don't even care about or ever heard of.
Inhumans,
I didn't even care about them. I was honestly not planning to get them, but then Lockjaw teleports people around the board. And it's such a thematic game. I mean, Jerome and I, we played it. Grabby and I has played it. And, MODOK, he's a sneaky little guy. And I had Hulk, ready to Hulk smash. And I rolled 6 hits, but they were wilds. And guess what? MODOK cancels wilds. And then I remember one game where I'm running around as Spider-Man and Jerome's trying to catch me with his slow character. I'm like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. I'm going to run away. And
oh my God, it's so good.
It's so good. I get chills just thinking about the game. And lucky my dad, he's into train hobbies. And he gave me a bunch of buildings and those things are pricey. So glad I got them. Thanks, Dad. And it's just a lot of fun and team building. But honestly, I probably spend more time buying and painting minis than actually playing. But, I can't play with unpainted minis. And the reason I can't play with unpainted is because my friends, my wife and my friend Jerome, if I play with unpainted minis, they're like, what is this? This is unpainted. Then they post it on Facebook. They're like, oh, hey, why am I playing with unpainted minis? This is uncultured. Do you remember your Snapchat?
Wait.
Yeah. She was like, Captain America's not painted. And I was like super intimidated because Captain America is such an iconic character. I didn't want to mess him up. So.
I just remember wanting to play with a certain character and it wasn't painted, and I got shat on for weeks.
Of course. Every time. Like, for example, I have a game on Match. And he chose the one character that wasn't painted.
It's Bruce Lee!
I'm like, wow. But it's fine. As I digress, the game's fantastic. They did a really good job in doing intro to miniature gaming. I mean, both of us never really got into miniature gaming. Neither is Gabby. And it's just an easy way to get into it. And if you're looking into miniature gaming, definitely get it. The community is fantastic. The people they're really engaging to. Every Tuesday and Thursday they have... I'm pulling a Jerome right now. But every Tuesday and Thursday they have videos, painting videos or skirmish games, and it's really fun.
You don't like it, do you?
No, not at all.
You can't talk.
I'm not passionate about it at all. Okay, my love, number 2.
Number 2 for me is Bloodborne, the board game, and again we've already talked about that. So to move on, Jerome.
My number 2 is, and I don't feel like I should introduce this one because
I know I'm a little salty.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let you talk about it. It's Marvel Champions.
Yeah. Okay, so Marvel Champions is my number 1, and we can both just talk about it. Marvel Champions.
We're gonna.
Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna happen. So it's funny when they announced Marvel Champions and Marvel Crisis. I was like, I'm not getting into that. That's a money pit. Blah blah blah. Got both, and I have not skipped out an expansion. And it's funny because. I got Jerome to it. He's like, yeah, it's fine. And then now he has his own copy with expansions. And then every time I talk to someone about it, they pick it up. Okay, what is Marvel Champions? Go ahead, Jerome.
It's a deck construction game, co-op. So unlike Legendary, where you're building your deck throughout the game, you build your deck before the game. Unlike Legendary Marvel, you're not recruiting heroes, you are the hero. So it's a whole lot more thematic.
Yes.
And
I know.
but similar to Legendary, you're fighting the villain and trying to thwart their scheme.
Yeah.
I don't know why I botched on that word. You're trying to thwart their scheme, and the way you do that is just by playing. You have a hand of cards, you play these cards, and you pay for them with cards out of your hand.
The game is so thematic. You're fighting these villains, and then just like in video games or anything else, you fight them down in the phase 1, and then phase 2 happens, and then it's a total different beast.
Yeah.
And the characters are so thematic. Like Hulk, the way he plays, has 4 cards and he's angry, so he can't plan anything, and you're just doing these massive attacks, and then you have to discard all your cards, so you can't plan for next turn because you're not Bruce Banner, you're not calm and making plans. How about your experience, Gabby?
It's been fun. The ones that I've played Hulk, I've played Captain America, probably a couple of others I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I do really enjoy it. I enjoyed it a little bit more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
But it's I would say it's definitely a lot better than Legendary, because Legendary can definitely get fussy sometimes when you set up the decks. I don't
feel like it's as thematic either. I'm playing Quicksilver and I'm doing 3 attacks in a row because he's Quicksilver. He's fast. He's hitting light, but he's doing it. Yeah,
I think Marvel Champions is more accurate in the game. More accurate in the sense that it's like it feels like you're actually very thematic.
One of the things I like about it is that between the expansion packs, the little packs that you get that add new heroes or new villains, everything feels so different.
Yes.
They come up with new stuff for each of the villains. Between Green Goblin, the Wrecking Crew, Kang, the Once and Future Kang,
amazing,
and the expansions, Rise of the Red Skull and Galaxy's Most Wanted, everything just feels different. So it's not becoming stale like you're playing the same thing over and over again. How many plays do you have?
I have 83, 84, and I'm not tired of it.
No.
Not even close.
Oh, God, it's such a good game.
And different
And I don't think if you've even played all the characters.
I haven't, and neither has Jerome. I haven't played Spider-Woman, and he's played Spider-Woman. I haven't played Rocket, and he hasn't played Groot. There's just so many characters and different aspects you can put into it. Just the deck construction is a lot of fun. My favorite character is definitely, I'm going to say the last thing, my favorite character is Captain America with leadership. He's just a boss, because I play a lot of solo as well, so I just use allies, aka meat shields, to defend for me.
And I like She-Hulk with Justice, because she hits hard, and with Justice she can thwart really well, and it balances great.
Yeah, and it's funny because She-Hulk I had no interest before, never really knew too much about her, but Marvel Champions was able to convince me to be like, oh, let me look into She-Hulk. Even then, Jerome actually picked me up A-Force comic, and I started reading that, and it's awesome. And how about your favorite character, Gabby?
I really enjoyed playing with Thor, actually.
Yeah?
I think Thor was a lot of fun. Yeah, but I did notice that he's good with certain enemies. Other enemies,
you need minions.
You need minions, because if you don't have any minions with the enemy that you're playing, he's just kind of useless.
Yeah, he's terrible against Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
But he likes to beat him up, so.
Well, that was my number 2.
And that was my number 1, and Gabby.
My number 1 is Star Wars Outer Rim, which Nate already talked about earlier. But to add to it, we're big Star Wars fans in this house, and it's a lot of, I only have like 20 Star Wars shirts.
I wouldn't have known.
But yeah, so we really do enjoy that game, and it is a lot of fun.
And we definitely need a Mandalorian expansion.
Yes, so publishers, designers, you hear us?
Do it. And you're number 1.
Make sure to send us 2% royalty off the each sale for that idea. Thanks.
Or just the game. I'll take that. Or expansion.
Or both.
Yeah, the fans are like, who are these puny guys?
My number 1 is Arkham Horror, the LCG, or the card game, a living card game.
Yeah.
This game is just so thematic for me. I love the living card game aspect where new expansions or new cycles, and you're playing these heroes, and you're reading portions of story, not too in depth, but enough to really get you going. And I love that noir detective Lovecraft.
You love the noir, yeah.
Yeah.
And I really wish that somehow they do a Marvel Champions like that. Like, the campaigns are kind of weak, especially compared to Arkham Horror Lcg. That thing, those stories are just just so memorable. Remember the train?
So good.
Amazing.
No spoilers.
That's fine. They'll figure it out. And that's everyone's number 1, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and you'll see us next time. Anything else?
Yeah. Check out the links in the below underneath the descriptions if you want to find us on social media.
Perfect. Which I think you do, right? So just go and click on.
Yeah, the little bell thing,
Oh yeah, do that too. Bells for notifications. We're gonna be those annoying YouTubers now. Make sure to hit the subscribe button.
Peace.
Bye.
Take care. Perfect.
Oh my God.